Dark waters. This story I'm about to share with you is something that I struggled with for many years. I may sound unbelievable to you, and I realize that in many ways it is. However, when I heard you on Coast to Coast, I realized that you were the person to share my encounter with. I worked at one of the wildlife reserves here in Louisiana, and when I can confidently tell you that Dogman is real. Not only is it real, but it is absolutely terrifying. Part of my job is to collect data for our location and compile it into a report. That same data is taken and then combined with information from around the United States and to create the annual Refuge Performance Report. This report has all kinds of data from annual revenue to the number of invasive species located in each location. So here in Louisiana, our main invasive species is the silver carp fish. It's impossible to actually determine the numbers of these fish, but we capture them and measure for size, just to get an idea of how large they become. We also trap females to get an idea of the number of eggs that they lay, and this gives us a rough estimate of the population in our waterways. This particular evening I'm out in an airboat. Now normally I'm not alone, I take a few contacted fishermen out with me, but this was supposed to be a short trip. My plan was to run into the marsh and retrieve a few of the fish traps that I had set out the day before. These traps had been set in this small cove. Now the area around this cover was partial dry land, and the day before I was able to get out the boat and walk around a bit. But just like everything else in the Louisiana swamps, the terrain is always changing, evolving, and last night it had rained a bit and I decided it would be best to work from the boat and retrieve these traps. So I'm on my knees reaching down into the water to grab this rope when I notice that the area is silent. Now I can't say for sure that the area went silent in that moment because honestly, I was not paying attention, but I noticed at that moment it was dead quiet. It gave me this eerie feeling and immediately brought to my mind that there was a spirit around in this area. You see, some bad things had gone down in these swamps over the years. Lynchings, murders, rapes, really bad things. The kind of things that leave negative energy. So I started to hurry, moving to the next trap. Now picture this Emu at the front of the airboat. I'm paddling with an oar, and the area I'm moving into now has trees that hang over the water. Think foliage on them that starts to block out the sun. To my right is the landmass I told you about, and to my left is water lily pad, weeds, and grass. I bend down to pull the rope on the next trap, and leaves begin to fall off the tree above me. Not 1 or 2 leaves, 20-30 leaves falling all at the same time, causing me to look up. When I do, I see this thing moving away from me on one of the large tree branches above. I remember saying to myself, what the fuck is that? It moves as far as it could until it reaches the trunk of the tree, huge oak tree, and then it starts to climb up. Now it wasn't until this thing begins to stretch its body climbing that tree that I realized this was a monster. I don't use that word lightly either. Monster. Claws. Long. Black, and curved. Gray fur with pinkish skin beneath. And the head on this thing was massive. After it had gotten damn near 35 more feet into the air, this thing grabs another tree branch with one arm, digging its claws in, and suspends itself hanging there in the air, looking down at me. Snout like a dog, its eyes set wide to the side of its head, and 2 long teeth that hung out its mouth. You know, when we were kids we had those encyclopedias. I tell you, this thing had teeth like a saber-toothed tiger, but the head of an oversized ungroomed greyhound. You know how they have them long snouts. Same thing, but make it 6 to 7 times bigger. It just hung there looking at me, these steely black eyes. For a few seconds I was in shock. I'm thinking this can't be real. But then its ears began to twitch and move. Holy fuck. I almost fell out the boat trying to climb up into my seat and get the hell out of there. I refused to look back as I speed away, turning the boat all the way around and heading back out of the cove. When I got back to the dock and began to take the boat out of the water, my hands were shaking, legs felt weak, and my vision was blurred. I thought I was having a heart attack, and for the next 2 days, I could not sleep. I sent 2 contractors to go get those traps and asked them to check the trees in the area for scratch marks. When they returned, they said that the traps were missing and that the area felt weird, like something was watching them. As for the scratch marks on the oak tree, they found them and only said something big had to make those marks.